I saw a news article mentioning a name I haven't heard in many years. Ty Lopez, the garage, the Lamborghini, this guy knowledge. To keep it simple, him and his business partner basically got called out on a Ponzi scheme where they misled hundreds of investors and pretty much pocketed about millions of dollars for personal expenses. Now, imagine you invest your money into someone's idea or business or service and they decide to use that money not for that service you invested in, but to ride around in luxurious cars and so forth, fund their lifestyle, right? It's funny because I always felt like, despite the hate he got when the garage meme was popular, right, and the skepticism and throughout the years, I never felt his information that he was sharing was misleading or harmful. Like, this is what I was mentioning in like older videos. Some people are too caught up on like what's going on where they just completely ignore what somebody's saying. You know what I'm saying? If you actually listen to what he was talking about in his videos, it like he often shared very valuable tips about self-improvement, entrepreneurship, and life lessons that he learned from books, historical figures, and his own personal experiences. Rather, one advice I'll never forget. This is how I even like cared about this even more. Like, this was like 10 plus years ago. He was talking about investing into the stock market. There was like one video on how to maximize the benefit. This was a free video too. I remember after watching that video, I put my money into the stock market and I took his advice word for word, did my own research as well, and I made a lot of money in return. A lot of money. I was like, this guy, when this happened, I was like, and we're going down the timeline here, by the way. I realized this guy, Ty Lopez, just gave out free game and it made me money and it educated me and it gave me some financial literacy and, of course, some investing knowledge, right? Knowledge, no pun intended. So I was like, he keeps promoting this 67 steps program. If you spend $67, you get 67 videos about principles in life that help you achieve success in health, wealth, love, and happiness, right? That was like his pitch. So after his free game worked for me, I was like, hey, I made some money off of him, some of his advice. Let me put some money back. I'll buy the 67 steps. I got $67. All right, whatever. So boom, I bought it. And I only watched like 20 out of the 67 videos. And when I first bought it and I was watching the videos, I was like, this got a lot of good information, a lot of things I've never heard of before. You know what I'm saying? A lot of perspectives. But I felt like each video had so much information packed into it at times that it didn't feel productive to me unless I was able to implement them into my life. And you can't just like, I'm not the type of person where like if I watch a video, my whole life changes, or like if I read a book, my whole life changes. I need to keep rereading the book or keep re-watching the video. You know what I'm saying? So at that time period, and for most of my life, and you guys know my past, right? I was a closet shut-in. So a lot of these principles that he was talking about with like health, relationships, and so forth, that didn't mean anything to me because I was locked in my room all day playing video games and on the computer. I had a job back then, but I went to work and went right home. You know what I'm saying? So like I didn't really have a social life. And I remember telling my mom about it. I was telling her like I felt shameful because I was like, yo, mom, I just paid some guru online named Ty Lopez for a package of 67 steps of videos to health, wealth, love, and happiness. And I was so ashamed of it. It's like, because I had never done that before. Like, who paid for stuff like this, right? And she was like, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Andre? You're paying somebody for mentorship, for information that he compiled in 67 videos that takes people a whole lifetime to learn. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. She's right. So I did continue to watch a few more of his videos, right? The 67 steps. But again, I never finished. So, while I was doing that, I started to watch him on social media as well. I remember seeing him hang out with like Rice Gum. Y'all remember him from like a million years ago, Rice Gum and all that. All these people, he was hanging out with celebrities, rappers, YouTubers, everything. And something that kind of bothered me about this, which also pushed me away from him. And this is another reason why I never finished the 67 steps, or like I just completely, I looked away from what he was doing and stuff. His content, right? I was following him on Instagram and everything. His content felt like he was trying to prove his luxurious lifestyle all the time. I think he was so infatuated with proving people wrong. Because everyone was making, I remember people were making videos about him and everything. This guy's a liar, fake lifestyle and everything. He kept trying to prove to people that he wasn't broke, or, you know, like he was a millionaire and everything like that. Like, dude almost spent every video or picture he posted trying to debunk that. And to me, this had nothing to do with the 67 steps or anything he was mentioning. These are the complete opposite things he's telling me in these 67 steps. This is fraudulent. This doesn't look like everything he mentioned about health, wealth, love, and happiness. Yes, it showed wealth. He showed health too, that he was a gym rat too. I saw him, he always working out and shooting basketball and all that stuff. But like, yo, flexing expensive things or having those things did not mean more than, you know, you talk about health and all this stuff and working out, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like so this started pushing me away, because now, even though he was getting, he was getting a lot of hate, but he was spitting a lot of game and a lot of facts about a lot of things. Listen, I get it, bro. You got money. All right. Relax. I get it. You're rich. Okay. I'm not motivated or inspired by you constantly pushing that in my face. And I have a theory that I think he got so caught up in all this, because I told you, a lot of people, you know what I'm talking about if you were there during that time period. People were making so many videos about this guy, like negative things, right? I think he got so infatuated trying to prove to people that he could maintain his expensive lifestyle and that he had money for real, that he decided to misuse his money that he received from investments, which is exactly where this whole Ponzi scheme came from. We never really saw him. I could be wrong about this, because you guys, I'm like disconnected from the internet. I never really saw him go viral after the Lamborghini meme era. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not very good at proving that, because I don't really pay attention to things. This whole Ty Lopez thing was weeks ago, by the way, too. This whole Ponzi scheme, whatever. I'm just not finding out. Okay, I'm disconnected. But like, you know, I guess he wanted to maintain a lifestyle, believing it was still attracting more business, which I guess you can say worked. But looks like, unfortunately, even though it brought him business, some of his, quote, business expenses were him funding a rich lifestyle. I guess that was a business expense, because being rich and looking like you had money, constantly flexing, made people want to invest in him. My point is, I don't think he was wrong in a lot of things that he was representing himself for. A lot of the information he was sharing, even behind the paid service with the 67 steps and stuff like that, I thought it was fine to me. Good info. But again, he got too caught up with the social media feedback and criticism. He always talked about, this was the thing too, this what also kind of bothered me as well when I'm talking about fraudulent, right? He always talked about being from the Amish, right? And, you know, having a humble lifestyle where, you know, he didn't really have technology. So, you know, he had to learn all these different things. But like, yo, all right, cool. But you spending millions upon millions of dollars for the opposite lifestyle, and, you know, do whatever you want with your money in a sense. But like, bro, you got to keep telling us about this. How are you from a humble background, but you're not being humble with your money? None of this stuff means anything at the end of the day. It's nice to have money, and I could imagine how comfortable it is to be rich and wealthy. But if this is rooted off of trying to prove something to others, I can't be surprised he misused investors' money for the same thing he was trying to prove to people. That's just my take on it. I don't hate him or anything. I'm not mad or anything. I might actually watch some of his older videos after this to hear some of his insight he used to share. Maybe it'll mean more to me as I've gotten older, you know? Ty Lopez has some good points. It's disappointing to see the motivational aspects he shared. He felt his business model had to remain about proving he was rich. We get it, bro. We get it, you know? Anyway, just my 2 cents. This episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. I'm out.